through his phone again. I hope it looks okay. I'm looking at two things at once, which is a bit weird. Here's Flanders' friend, another episode. Tim drifted through the lessons and he forced himself to concentrate. It was the only way that he could keep his dark thoughts at bay. The next few days went by in a blur, and Tim didn't visit Arthur. He didn't know why, but he knew that he was dreading the funeral. He helped his mum with the cleaning, but it was difficult for him to know what to say. It was like they were both living on two different planets, and there was no way for them to connect or to reach out to each other. Each time that Tim glanced at the family photos on the wall, he felt a sharp stab of pain. It seemed like everywhere he turned there were reminders of his dad, and there wasn't any escape from it. He wanted to talk to his mum, but she had become unreachable. She was alone with her grief, and he was alone with his. There was only one thought in the future which concerned him, and that was his dad's funeral. It was on the horizon like an iceberg, and it was a day that Tim dreaded, but it was coming, and there was nothing he could do about it. Finally the day came, and Tim found himself in a rainy churchyard, and he could see the other mourners and his mum, but it was such an unreal situation that he had to pinch himself to know that it was true. He looked down at his dad's coffin being lowered precariously into the ground, and the tears rolled down his cheeks, and the pain inside him was so great that he thought he would split apart. Tim looked over at his mum, and she was motioning for him to come over. He walked over to her, and they hugged each other, and they absorbed each other's pain. It was as if the ice had cracked between them, and now a little light was beginning to shine through. They watched as the coffin was slowly being lowered into the ground, and Tim found it hard to believe that his dad was inside it. But when he looked at all of the sad faces of the mourners, he knew that it was true. Tim half expected to see his dad walking round the back of the church and ask all the people what the fuss was about. The rain fell heavier, and the blackness of the sky made Tim feel that the world was coming to an end, and in a way it was. Then he remembered Arthur, and it gave him something to hang on to, and he looked at his mum, and he knew that life was never going to be the same again, and he didn't know if he could carry on. But what choice did he have? He watched as the friends and relatives tucked into sandwiches, and he thought, half amused, that Dad would have thought about all of their gluttony and all of the mess they were making as they peppered the floor with crumbs. Tim couldn't wait to see Arthur again. He was his only light in the darkness. That night he kissed his mum good night as she sat in her favourite armchair, listening to the radio. Her eyes awash with tears and memories which had turned to ashes. The next morning Tim ate his breakfast quickly, as he didn't want to be reminded of the last few days by the sight of Dad's empty chair, and by the sight of Dad's empty chair. Hope you enjoyed that chapter. Hello, I'm from the UK. Please sub me. Hope you liked it.